Hi everyone, hope you're all right. Hope you've had a good week. Mine's not been too bad. The weather's certainly been good to us, hence the sort of like name of the title. The title of today's live, all to do with the hot weather we've had this week. And obviously last week was quite hot as well, really, wasn't it? And it does affect you and slow you down and all that. And it brings its problems like everything else, but then there's ways around them as well. So anyway, hope you've all had a good week and you're looking forward to another good week. And it's the start of the month as well, so I'm hoping I have another good month. Last month's been good in the long run, so string a couple of those together. Been saying that for a few months, but it'd be nice to. Yeah, so that's how my week's gone. What have I done? 1, 2, 3. I've had 4 days of window cleaning. Last Tuesday, we had what we call a gutter day. So I've had, believe it or not, this time of year, a couple of gutter jobs have come in. And so we kind of like try and load a day's worth of gutter jobs because I stick a gutter vac in the back of my van, which then goes with all the gutter equipment as well. And then buckets and stuff. And in case I need to use my ladder stay, and also a big generator because I've got a Skyvac Industrial 85. So I've got the big generator that they do. So all that goes in the back of the van. So I have to strip out a lot of my window cleaning stuff. So when we have a gutter day, it's a day of gutters basically. And that's what we had last Tuesday. I had 4, yeah, I'm looking at the wrong day there. 4 jobs booked in. Just going over, one of them was just, it's a fairly large property in terms of windows that we cleaned, but also he's got fascia soffits and gutters all the way around, all 4 sides. So we cleaned all the fascia soffits and gutters there and a couple of dormer windows as well with the fascia soffits and gutters above them. Then we did a gutter clear, quite a large property. It had 4 sides, so that's why there's a lot of gutters we cleared out. And then we did another job where I went to a lady's house and we did the fascia soffits and gutters. I whizzed over her windows, they were clean anyway, and I got them a bit wet, so I might as well clean them, which doesn't take long because they're clean to start with, like I said. And then lastly, we went to another like bungalow type property and we did the windows, a gutter clear and the fascia soffits and gutters. So that's what we had on last Tuesday. That all went well. So I was happy with that. And I love using the Industrial 85. Great bit of kit. Well, all gutter vacs are really, aren't they? It doesn't matter what one you got. And it done the job. So we're happy with that. And some of the customers who haven't seen anything like that, they're kind of blown away. So it's all good. So that's what we did. I don't think anyone's in on the chat. I'll just have a look in the relevant places. Well, it says we've got 5 concurrent viewers, but I think, we've got 6. So yeah, if you're in, just say hi in the chat or through the live and then we'll get you in the comments page and we'll go through it. Any questions you got, fire away. Hopefully ones I can answer anyway. But yeah, anyway, moving on, I thought I'd go into the title of the show, as you've probably already been aware anyway. It's the Heatwave Hot Week Cleaning Windows. So it certainly has been. I mean, I don't know where you are, but where we've been, where we are, near Wiz Beach, it's 28 degrees and the highest it was 29 degrees. So for us in the UK, that's hot. If there's anyone from the USA that are watching, I know you do far hotter temperatures than that. But yeah, it's been pretty solid hot all week. In fact, the only day where it was what we'd love to have been during the week at some point was Saturday, and that's when I went to an air show, place called East Kirkby. Look it up, absolutely cracking place. Hi Mark, mate, you all right? Oh, that's changed. Hang on, let me sort that out. That Kieran, I've been hot in Norwich. I'm an Ipswich fan, mate. You a Norwich fan? Oh, Mark, you're a Leeds fan. Brilliant. Us three will have a good bit of banter then. Yeah, it's been very hot. I expect in Leeds as well, if you're in built-up areas, and Norwich, obviously. It can be really hot, can't it, with all the heat reflecting off all the concrete and everything that you've got there. Be really hot. But thanks for dropping your comments, guys, and tuning in. Forgot what I was getting at now, about the hot week. Yeah, it's and then Saturday, sorry, it was raining, wasn't it, during the morning, but it did burn off by just after lunchtime, and then it come out really hot like it is or had been all week. So it didn't really affect the air show. It was really good. Went there with the kids and the family, like. But things you can do then in really hot weather to try and make it a bit more bearable. I suppose what you can do is, if you've got that luxury of starting early, then start a bit earlier than you normally would do. So the idea being it's obviously cooler part of the day then. Excuse me. So if you've got any like early starters who don't mind you turning up a bit earlier than normal, you could start there, couldn't you? Or if you've got any like commercial work, you can get there early. So make sure you park before people start parking their cars all over the place, trying to bomb burst and get into work sort of thing. So that could help. So I just tick some things off. And then other things, of course, is hats and sunglasses. It sounds funny, doesn't it? Like when I was a kid, you sort of like didn't want to wear anything like that. But as you get older, you start to wear the hats more. But I think it's been that hot. If you put a hat on, you probably feel uncomfortable. So I tend to not wear my hat anyway. But I definitely wear, they're not sunglasses. They're these glasses, but they're tinted, because I'm not allowed to wear reactive glasses, you know, to light, so it can turn into sunglasses, because I need them for driving as well. So that's the rule. So I've got a tinted pair of these, and yeah, I use them definitely. You get a lot of glare, don't you, off the windows, and the white's kind of like really glow white as well, and it can be too much. So I definitely wear them. And then yeah, hats and glasses, and something my daughter was pointing out is things like sun cream. She's got quite fair skin, so she has to put sunblock on, sun cream, whatever you want to call it. And if you're someone else like that as well, it's probably handy to have in the van, actually, isn't it? Because you might forget these things as you run out the door. And then when you're working hard, they tend to sweat off anyway. So they can be of a help if you need it. And definitely you need to up how much water you're taking in during the day. I know I'm finding that. And it's surprising, really. So I've got like, it's a metal bottle, 500 mils, so it can keep your water cool. I have that. But then I also have like a litre bottle of water I just fill up out of the tap. And then I keep that in the van as well. So I've always got plenty of water. Chances are anyway, when you're cleaning your customers, there'll be an outside tap where you can refill up. But just in case, I carry the extra. And then a handy thing to have is a cool box. That's something I've added for this year into my van. Just a £15 one from Asda. You've probably seen it in some of my other videos. We got it to put a packed lunch in, because it won't be a cheese sandwich, will it, by the time you get it out in this weather? It'll be like a cheese toasty. So yeah, we put a pack up in the cool box, and obviously some of your drinks and water as well. And that's a godsend, really. And obviously in the back of the van with that, I've got a 500 litre tank. So that's like cool in there anyway. So it helps keep the cool box down to temperature as well. Oh, I've not heard of that one. Sorry, comments just coming from Kieran. He's just saying as well, do you up your flow rate in the hot weather? I don't. I still have it at 35 to 40. I'm playing around with it at the moment, so I've got it on 35. But I think I see what you mean with the hot weather. I suppose you're upping the flow rate so it doesn't evaporate off the glass too quick, or something like that. I'm not sure, mate. Just fire away in the comments there, and if anyone else does anything like this as well, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? I've not thought of that, but I know what I tend to do when I clean the window is I'll clean the window, and if it's got, say, 2 different panes on it, rather than cleaning the whole thing and then rinse the whole thing, so I'll clean one pane, rinse that, and then move on to the next pane. Once I've cleaned that, I'll rinse that straight away as well, because I guess you've all seen it as well. Sometimes when you got the sun directly on the glass and it's really hot, it's like steam's coming off the glass, and you haven't even got to the rinsing bit yet. So you can see it's trying to evaporate really quick. So I kind of rinse it, clean a bit, rinse a bit, clean a bit, rinse a bit as I go, rather than clean the whole thing and then rinse the whole thing in one go. And I do the same when I'm cleaning conservatory windows. As I do a pane, I'll clean the next pane, go back to the first one, rinse that. And I try and do that along. So that's my theory behind it. And whether it makes a difference or not, I don't know. But that's something I do. I haven't thought about upping the flow of the water for that sort of reason. I'm not sure if that's why you're asking, mate. But if anyone else can shed some light on it, bung it in the comments. It'll be interesting, won't it? And what we have found as well is no matter how hard you try not to, you do slow down because of the heat. If you're like me, I've got a lot of work to get through, and it's probably because my prices aren't high enough. So I just try and work faster to squeeze an extra job in. So I've got a lot of work on, and I'm probably too thorough when I clean the windows as well. That's something I've been aware of, and people have dropped comments down. So I'm trying to address that slowly, old habits and that. But yeah, it doesn't matter how hard you work trying to think I'll get it through the work as quick as I can before it gets unbearably hot, because you're just going to become hot and you're going to start to slow down anyway. And you can only keep the pace up for so long. And in this heat, it just gets to you. And it probably, because I work with my son and daughter, there's not any one time does it get to us all at the same time. It will get to someone else first, then they'll get a second wind, then it'll get to someone else. So it does slow you down, basically. And I don't know about you, what you do find is when it's not too hot, but the sun's out, you get a lot of your customers at home all the time, and they're probably out in the gardens. So when they see you, they like to chat for a bit, and that kind of slows you down as well. So, but you tend to stop and have a chat as well as a break, don't you? So you're trying to get that balance yourself and make use of any shade. Get under the shade of the trees if there's a chance of a breeze as well. Makes a big difference, doesn't it? So yeah, the hot weather does slow you down, and keep an eye on your water intake. If you're already thirsty, you're already on the way to being dehydrated. So you want to take small sips often. And then if you're like me, you're on the water tablets, you're drinking more water, you've got to keep running off to the toilet. And that slows you down. We've had a lot of toilet breaks and knowing where the supermarkets are so we can use their bogs. I don't know about you guys, but I'm fairly rural around here. So we've built a lot of the thunderflies have been out. There haven't been in some years where we're covered in them, but it's enough for you to keep scratching your face. And the annoying thing is you just blink and cleaned a window, and then you got these little black dots appearing everywhere as well, and you're trying to wash them off. Annoying things they are. But they've been out this week, and I suppose they'll get worse until the harvest has been, and a couple of days later, and then they'll be gone. Shorts. It's great wearing the shorts, isn't it, in this hot weather? You sort of feel on par with the old post office workers now, because they live in shorts, don't they? It's cold when they're not in shorts, that's for sure. So I've had my shorts out, but the annoying thing in this weather is when you've had a bit of rain and the sun comes out, everything grows. So what you often find, isn't it, you, to get around the side of one house, there's always one side where it's full of stinging nettles or anything that's prickly, and there's you in your shorts. That's happened a few times this week. So, but hey, I'm in my shorts, just get on with it, didn't you? Didn't harm me when I was a kid, you found ways around it. So yeah, that's the fun we've had with this hot weather. The good thing about going to supermarkets, use the toilet though, you can buy the packs of ice creams. The good thing for us working as a free, we buy the pack of 3. I know they do 4s and 6s, but if they do the 3 cheapy Magnum rip-off sort of jobs, not rip-offs, Magnums, I mean the copycat ones where they're nice and my price range. We go and get a pack of them and just share them between us as well. That's quite nice. But something I have done this week. Oh, sorry, just before I go on, some of the comments coming in. Kieran saying, yeah, early start, saying that's a good one. It is nice in the mornings. It's weird, isn't it, in your house because it holds the heat. Feels really hot and warm at night. And then when you go outside, you're like, oh, it's way cooler out here. So you're kind of happy. But by 9 o'clock, it starts feeling hot again. Okay, Dawn Window Cleaning says, linen shirts are cool. Short sleeve, obviously. Sad to say hot weather fairly lasts long. Soon passes, yet it does. Although when it's about a week long, you're thinking, oh my God. But yeah, I suppose try different materials, isn't it? Everyone's different, but you've got to find what works. It's all handy, all good stuff to know. But something I've done this week as well, which I thought I'd show everyone. So I'm just going to get the page lined up ready to show you. I ordered some stuff. I think I told you it's about over a week ago, but it took a few days to come in through the post, and it come in during this week. So what I've got is went to this company, the Rutec. Roll on winter, Kieran's saying. I am a winter man, to be honest. I hate the heat, absolutely hate it. I'm all right if I'm by a pool and the bar's there. But yeah, I hate the heat. I just hate the fact when you stood still doing nothing and the sweat's pouring down it, that's when it's too much for me. The colder weather I absolutely love, and I'm at my happiest with that in terms of the weather. But yeah, I went to this company and I thought I'd try a couple of things. I'll get the first one up if I can find it. Oh, see other products, sorry. And then what did I get? Oh, I got the drip stop for gardener's poles. So if I just click on there, show you a big picture. See this blue triangle bit here? They come in blue or black. When you order it, you just drop it in the notes section. So I went for a black one, and they do a type 1 and a type 2. It depends if you've got the old or the new style gardeners goosenecks. That's the style I went for the newer ones. And like I said, I got a black one, and I've put it on my pole. And I wish I had it for Tuesday when we had all the fascia soffits and gutters. We did do another fascia soffits and gutters job the following day on a Wednesday. So I did get to use it then, but it wasn't really put through its paces of testing whether it was a success or not. These are the different, obviously, shapes. You can see the circular hole for the different goosenecks. The two on the top, they're for the newer style gardener goosenecks, and the two on the bottom for the older style. Before it was the pass-through ones with the water. And they've got the other pictures. There we go. As you can see, the idea of it is you put it there and the water runs down your brush, down your gooseneck. And then instead of coming down the pole to run down your arm and down your armpit and then down to the waist of your trousers and the crack of your bum and all that sort of stuff, it hits the drip stop and then basically runs off there as opposed to running down your pole. I thought, sod it, it's worth a try. I didn't really, like I said, I only used it on one job and it worked fine there. I just thought, put it through its paces and see what its limits are, really. But I definitely thought it's worth a punt. Something that had been on my radar anyway. So there you go. That's the black one. And that's where it sits. Something simple, and sometimes it's the simple things that just do the job, isn't it? So it was worth a shot anyway. And as you can see, it was £5.45. Obviously, that's without the postage and packaging, I suppose, tax. If you look on the window cleaning forums, there is a 20%, I think it was, discount code. And that's what I used. And as well as getting that, I ordered one of these as well. So it's a base cap and it's for gardener's poles. I haven't got a gardener's pole. I've got a Xline pole. It's carbon nano. And I just took a punt. They're going to be roughly the same size. But what they do say to you is when you read all the description down here, I'll try and leave in the comments when this goes afterwards, comments, the links in the description, and I'll do it on the live replay that you've probably noticed I've been trying to do, and to the website. And you can see they've got the descriptions here. So they're giving you a breakdown of all the different gardener poles. It's all I tend to stick with, and the sections, and then what size cap you need. But what they do say, they'll tell you at the bottom, they can make custom caps for your pole. So basically, this is what it looks like. I like the idea of these little 3 spiky bits on there. So it's similar to what the ones come on the Phantom poles if you brought them. And then there it is, a bit zoomed in, and they've got their little logo on here. That's fairly smart. But what they do say is also when you're using it, if you're going to use the, say, like I do, the tubeless system, go tubeless, and you've got the hose tail, which I have, that fits through the base cap no problem as well. That's absolutely fine. But what you do find is it's more expensive than the tubeless slip cap that Xceed do. I've got one of these, but it's starting to come really loose now and starting to slip off, when before I could hardly get the thing on, so I had to kind of work it in. Hi, Matt. You all right, mate? You're cleaner windows? Don't worry, mate. Watching the film with the kids is more important, and I hope you've had a cracking week off with your family as well, buddy. Mine's starting to come loose now and come off, so that's why I thought if I'm getting a drip stop, I'll try their base cap and see what happens. And I just went for the punt rather than measuring it. But they do say what you can do, if I can't get the picture, is use some digital calipers you can get quite cheap, and then just measure the width of the bottom section of the pole that you want to buy the end cap for. Send the details to them and they'll just make a custom one for you, basically. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Yeah, so they just wanted to measure the calipers like so. Give them the details and they make a custom one to fit your pole. So it doesn't have to be gardeners. I took a punt and got a bit lucky, and I'd like it a bit snug because it'll probably wear a bit thin after a while anyway, but at least I know it's going to stay on. So yeah, cracking bits of kit I think I brought from there. They've got a couple of bits on here that are on my radar as well. I don't know if anyone else has used them and can shed light on what they've got with them. I think someone's told me to use this, the hose stop for the older style gooseneck. So rather than sticking it on the end where you used to use the O-clamps or O-clips, I forgot what they're called yet, O-clips, and then squeezing them because they get wet and move, whereas this thing was quite solid. They're really impressed with that. So yeah, it looks like they've got some good bits of kit worth thinking about and trying out, really, isn't it? Anything that makes you feel happier, and in return it's going to make you efficient at what you're doing, isn't it? And just getting on with it. But yeah, they're just a couple of things I brought. I was excited when they turned up in the post, as you do, during my lunch break. So I quickly put them on my pole and then cracked on. So yeah, I was happy with them. Like I said, not a proper thorough test yet, but I'm hoping some point we'll get some more jobs and I can tell you whether it's worth getting or not. Even if 8 times out of 10 it worked, I'd be happy. I think it's obviously going to have some limits. Depends what angle your brush head's at and on a gable end, that sort of thing. But you just learn where to stand a bit differently, don't you? It's always a simple answer and it makes a big difference. So I just seen another comment come in from Jack. He's saying, "Hi Rob, I have a tubeless setup on my SLX and found that the base cap that comes from Xceed seems to lose its rigidity and can slide off after around 6 months or so." So it probably sounds like the same similar thing to me. I just thought maybe it's the heat. What I've got my pole, what it slides in is like a drain pipe, and it slightly overhangs at the back, and sometimes it catches the base cap, and now it just touches it. It falls off in the back of my van somewhere, or half the time it's halfway down the tube and it's too long for my arms to fit in, so I'm having to try and get it out. So that's why I thought I'd try and use the base cap from Rutech. It definitely feels more solider, not as supple, so it's more rigid, and it was difficult to put on. I haven't put it all the way on because I won't be able to take the thing off, so I'm going to let it, see if it'll work its way in and then loosen up, so to speak. And if not, I'll probably get some calipers and just do a proper measurement and then give that another shot as well. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. See how long they last. I think they are going to do well, mate. So far, I'm happy enough with it. It was a punt. How much is it? Right, sorry, I'll just get it up on here for you. It's £8.49p, and then obviously you got your post and packaging on there. That's why I brought 2 items to try it, make use of that. And then be a 20% discount code. I'll try and put it down below. It's £8.49, whereas the ones from Go Tubeless Xceed, they're £5. So they are cheaper. But if it's going to only last 6 months and come off, and then you're paying a bit more and it's going to last longer, then it's worth it, isn't it? But unfortunately, I only know by trying. So that's what I'm doing, mate. I'm just trial and error, trying it, see how it's like. You know, when something starts to do your head in, you put off it for so long and then you sort of think you've got to try and do something about it, haven't you? Like I said, it makes you happier, doesn't it? So you just work better. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to cover really for this week. That's the only thing I could think of with the heat. No idea what next week is. I don't really look at the weather. It does its own thing. I just keep going. As long as I can work, I'm happy, really. I just moan a little bit if it's difficult, but it gets to me kids a lot. Like I say, and we just rotate round, I think, how it affects us. But yeah, we've been all right. It's been a good week. It definitely has been hard though with the heat. I know if I was tradding for sure, it must be really hard for them guys. Not that I've done loads of trad work, but I can see that you have to be quick with your mop so that the soapy solution and that doesn't all dry off on the glass too quick. Because otherwise, you know, your squeegee is going to drag, then marks, and you keep so the whole process, the whole job would take longer. So there's a bit of pressure on you to know what you're doing and being quick there. And especially learning to be two-handed. So, you know, when they see they've got the mop and the squeegee and they're doing that, it's pretty clever to watch, isn't it? And you can see why they do it. So it must be really hard work for them. And the pressure, the pace they've got to get through. And plus on the ladders and going up and down, it must be a hard day's work. So I just got another comment come in from Matt. I've got to press the right buttons. I've changed my buttons around, so I can't go top hat. Off hat like. It's been hard sitting in the beach and in the garden. I bet, mate. Thanks for that. Anyone else been doing that? I appreciate that. I'm glad you had a nice time, mate. I'm glad the weather's good as well. Normally, innit, you take a week off, it's absolutely horrible. In fact, the most of the time I have time off work is just because the weather's that bad, and then you end up getting on with jobs that you couldn't normally do because you're always out working. So trying to be productive. But yeah, it should be interesting to see what happens, shouldn't it? And when it rains, it'll probably be torrential rain and storms and then normal again. But who knows how it's going to turn out. But yeah, I've had some late finishes this week. A couple of finishes where we got home about 6:30. It's happened twice, I think. Let me jog my memory. Yeah, Monday, I think it was about 5:30. Tuesday was 6:30. We actually left to go home. Wednesday was early. Thursday was about, I think, 4:30. And then Friday was about 4:30 as well. So not too bad, really. I normally go all the way up till 5. It's a rush to get back by 5, but sometimes a little bit over. But it is full on. And it's horrible in this hot weather, isn't it? When you're inside the van. I haven't got air conditioning, so I've just got fans. So my air conditioning are the windows. So it's windows down, start driving to get a breeze coming through. But then when you get to the next stop, because your stops aren't too far from the other houses, it doesn't take long for it to get blooming hot in there, does it? It's like glass, like a flipping greenhouse. So the minute you get in, that heat just whack. And then first couple of minutes trying to get the breeze through again. Oh, sorry, I've just seen another comment come in. But yeah, I've definitely had the windows down. And if I'm in an area where I can keep my eye on the van, I know it's all right. I'll keep the windows down while I'm working, but sometimes I have to put them up. All right, Kieran's saying, do you get a lot done with the three of you? Yeah, it's weird. I was having this conversation with someone else. You know that people say, like, I do 20, 22, 24 cleans a day. But it depends on the size of the house that you're cleaning, really, doesn't it? And I do a variety of houses. Some I would class as big, and then I do some that are really small as well. So it's a good cross-section. But in terms of money, probably say we're doing between $350 a day, or I'd probably say on average. And that's what we tend to try and target each day. And that's with 3 of us, though. I know there's people do not far off that on their own. I think I'm a bit too thorough when it comes to cleaning windows. I could probably do more. if I moved a bit faster, I'll get a couple more cleans in, and I'll probably need to up my prices a bit, maybe, I suppose. And then that will get it up there. Because you got to think it's not 3 of us, it's 4, because my wife does a lot of stuff in the background as well. So we've got to earn enough for 4 people. It does get a bit tight sometimes. But that's something I'm trying to figure out. But at least the work's there, and we keep getting quotes as well coming in. So it's all good. It's all getting there. It's all part of it. Just always on the go. And I'm not sure if you've seen some of my videos, mate, of how we work as me and my son, because I've only got 500 litre tanks. I really need a bigger tank, to be honest. Which I was speaking to someone the week and they mentioned it and I agree with them. It's a 500 litre tank, 2-person setup. It's a delivery system only. So I often have to go home and I refill up out of my static system, which is filling up a holding tank, an IBC tank. And then my daughter, so we could work as a 3. We got a 45 litre trolley from Xline, and I've got 8 25 litre barrels that we use because it's quick just to fill it up and tip it in 30 seconds, and it's 25 litres straight in the trolley. I've got a gravity fed system, I forgot what you call it now, where I can fill up, but it takes longer than putting a barrel of water upside down. So that's why we got the trolley system, just to enable us to work as a 3 from one van, because I wasn't ready and I wasn't in a position to buy another van, still not. And the moment, this might not be permanent because my daughter's going to move to Scotland. There's a lot of things going on at the moment which is stopping the move from happening. But when it all happens, she'll suddenly be gone. And then it'd just be me and my son trying to do all the work for 3. So me and him are trying to speed up anyway now, so that when that moment hits, it's not going to hit too hard. And then that's what I said to him, you're working harder and I'll be in a position to up your money as well. So carrot on a stick in it works best. So that's how we work as a 3, mate. And I think everyone's different. Like I say, you could do all these cleans, but how big is the house? How many windows are there? You know what I mean? And like I say, I've got a 500 litre tank, and I think I need a bigger one to stop me filling up. But then to get a bigger tank, I need a bigger van, because at the end of the day, you're ruled by your payload. And also for me, I need space in the back of my van to put all my gutter vac in. So the other way around it is perhaps get a trailer, put all my gutter vac stuff in there, so you can just hitch that up when we need it and off we go, or even put it onto the car and someone could go out in the car and do it. It's all options, isn't it? All things to think about. Adam's saying 700 litres including barrels. Yes, mate, 500 litre tank and then 200 litres in the barrels. And my van's payload is, I think it's 1,200 or just under that. I can't remember. Okay, Mark, sorry, he's just answering about the flow rate. Sorry, I was just reading it. If you turn up the flow rate up, you'll finish sooner. Okay, I changed mine from 45. Is that to 10? Oh, 70, sorry. And it's made a big difference. Yeah, I did. I said I put it to 40 and I felt that was spitting out quite fast. So I've dropped it back to 35. I'm just toying around with it. I did try it once at 70 on someone's house and I went really quick, but I got called back for spotting. So it kind of dented me confidence trying to do that. And it's probably also because I was trying to do it without rinsing. I can't remember. It's all trial and error, isn't it? And I've just got to try on my own house. Definitely worth giving it a go. But I know my pump's quite new on mine. So I'm not sure if I need to push it as much as 70. Because 50 comes out really fast. I have it on 60 if I do a conservatory roof to rinse and stuff. But there's only one way to find out in there. So like you say, if it's going to make you finish early, get an extra cleaning or whatever, it's definitely worth it. Matt from Your Cleaner Windows saying, since being in the live last week, you're thinking about doing a bit of YouTube. Mate, just do it. Just do it. You only get better when you're just doing things, don't you? And it will come, mate. It will come. And it's just company, isn't it? If you're on your own, it's something to do, think about, makes things different. I'll be watching your channel, mate. I'll keep an eye on it. Resin bottle for an extra top up. That's not a bad idea. Thing is, where I live, the water's 260 parts per million. I know some people have it a lot higher than that. But yeah, that is a save you coming home to fill up. Kieran's saying he does 650 litres a day on his own, but he has the flow rate between 70 and 80. We did try it, I think, me and my son high, and we just felt we were going through the water a lot quicker. But the thing is, if I'm coming home during the day to fill up anyway, it shouldn't really matter. And it'd be nice to come home lunchtime when it's fill up and then nip back out. But it depending on the areas I am, because I'm rural, it could waste me an hour, because you're talking like a 15-minute journey home, filling up, 15-minute journey out, and then you probably got a 10, 15-minute fudge factor when you get home as well. But then again, if you can move fast enough between them and get home at 5, ain't bad, is it? So, Matt, yeah, you said, didn't you, last week in the live about you put yours up, was it 70 as well, and you 35 centimetre brush, so it's bigger than the 26 centimetre one, going off what Squeaky Clean Dave, and you said you noticed the difference massive as well. So it could be, like I say, I'm only going to find out one way, aren't I? Don't think working faster is the answer. If you're doing a good job, just put up your prices. Yes. Because I think even if you work fast enough, in reality, you're probably only going to get half a clean extra that day, really, aren't you? And you just bugger yourself up. But I've got to look hard onto prices, I think, because some are all right. So we've all got the ones that are underpriced. And to bump them up, I think, to where they need to be, it's just too much in one go. So you're trying to bump it up, but more than some of the others you're doing. And then hopefully in a short space of time, it'll get where it should be. But I think I'm just going to have to go for broke. Oh, what's going on here? Ched saying the pump flow depends on a lot. Whether you like your hose is 8mm or 6mm. If you've got DI going after your pump, brushes, jets, etc., yeah, there's always going to be more to it. And the age of the pump as well, isn't it? If it's older, it probably needs to go higher than if it was a new one. To put it up high, you won't have to go as high, basically. And I think that's why a lot of people have them around 30 anyway, isn't it? Is to try and ensure it's good life on your pump for efficiency. I'm lucky because I haven't got DI in my van. It's just a delivery system, I suppose. That's probably why mine's lower. And I feel if it gets to 40 or 50, it's 40's all right. I think if it goes to 50 and that, it's too fast. I suppose this is a good thing, is when you are window cleaning, you can experiment on different houses, can't you? Or different days during the week to see what effect it has. I suppose you can do it that way as well, isn't it? But like I say, there's only one way of doing it. But it's interesting what everyone's saying. So another comment here from Matt. I said last week on the live, I run my window. Oh, 80. Sorry, I thought you said 70, mate. Yeah, 80. Like I said, some other people here are doing between 70 and 80 as well. You see what my memory's like. Mrs. loves me. So if you're doing a conservatory, do it with the customer's water, finish with pure. Yeah, I used to do that, but I just find, because it's me and my son, it's just easier if two of us maybe could use the roof. He does one side, I did the other. You'll see that on a video that'll be posted soon, because I've just edited it today. That was one of the jobs we did during last week. Because if I'm going to go home and fill up with water anyway, and my daughter uses the trolley. If the trolley was empty, so there are occasions where there used to be one house, it had a massive roof. So what I used to do is use the customer's tap water to fill up the 45-litre trolley. It'd take me 3 times to fill it up, because it was like 2 conservatories into one. And I'd clean the roof with that while my daughter used my hose and one of her poles. And then they did all the windows. And that kind of worked. Again, I suppose that's a good thing with the trolley as well. It gives you that versatility as well to switch around. But when I was on my own and I did conservatories, that's what I used to do. Because I had 2 reels in the van and I was only on my own, and they're the reels that you lift in and out. I just take one of them, plug it straight in the customer's tap, and then use that to do the window. And then, like you say, rinse it with pure afterwards. Matt's saying, put your prices up every year instead of every other year. Got you. Yeah, I've got someone kindly got in touch with me during the week, and I'll be speaking to him tomorrow as well. And that's one of the things he was talking about, is putting your price up on wine, called indexing, which I know a lot of you probably already know, to do in line with inflation as well. And there's a lot more other things to think about as well. But yeah, gets people used to the fact every year it's going to go up a bit, I suppose. We felt 50p a year. So we just said, to keep it simple, we'd just always round everything to £1. So we just said we'd do £1 every 2 years. But I suppose if you do your increases every year, you can bump the ones that are underpriced, obviously a little bit more, but they're quicker going to get to where you want them rather than doing it every 2 years, if that makes sense. Ched saying he just found a bigger brush made the most difference with speed. So 4 1.5mm jets on a 35cm Gardener's Extreme Seal brush. Takes a little getting used to, but after that, it's lots of time saved. That's also with anything you try differently, is to persevere, because you know it's not going to happen overnight, is it? And then you learn different things and notice stuff. So always give something a bit of time, isn't it, when you're going to try and do something? That's what I'm going to have to do when I try these different things. Tea's getting cold. And then Kieran's saying he puts his prices up £1 every year. That's not bad, is it? It's interesting, isn't it? Because I suppose I was dead scared when I did my first price rise. That'd be 2 years ago when we hit April next year, basically. It's the first price rise I've done. And I was bricking it. Some had gone up £1, some we put up more, some were up £5 as well, because some of the things we were doing and should have been charging for, basically. And hardly any left. So it surprised me, but I was bricking it. So I'm going to be a bit more confident, hopefully, putting them up again. And got to, because look how much your shopping goes up and how quick that goes up, and your prices, you're putting them up regularly and not even going up in that sort of like leap that they're doing when you do your food shopping. And the fuel's all over the place, isn't it? Sorry, just another comment from Ched. Don't forget, £1 increase on a £10 job is 10%, but on a 25 job, it's only 5%. Yep. That's why we've thought of working out a price per window. And then when you do a price increase, do it per window. So it doesn't matter if it's a small house or a big house, the price rise is kind of fair because you're doing it per window, if that makes sense. But then the other side of the argument could be a big house is paying a lot and then you're putting them up a lot. So they might say, no, I don't know. It's all down to confidence, isn't it, really, at that time? I suppose when you get to a certain level, you probably cap it a bit. I don't know. But it is true, isn't it? It's a 5% rise on a £20 job if you're going up £1. So it is something to bear in mind too. Half the time it's a gut job. It's hard, isn't it, pricing? It's the hardest thing going. It still is. But when you've been doing it a while, I suppose you get the gut feeling of what's right, what's wrong, because of the size of the property, even though sometimes you count stuff and it should be this much, but you can do it quicker. But then I suppose you get jobs that are quicker, some that are a bit longer, but over the whole, it evens itself out. You just don't want to be too close to the bone and too hum and ha. Have I got the right one? Yeah. Dawn saying, put increases on invoices that you leave, then you don't have to have a long conversations, then cave in. Yeah. That's a good tip. I think when we did it, we just sent out text message to everything in one go. And because I use Squeegee, obviously I pay for that. Jack's saying he just now bump up prices in line with inflation. Yes, there are calculators online. So you can enter your current price and then see after a year or two's inflation where it should be. I did look and see them. and have a go. Because when I first started, I used to just keep it simple because I didn't know how long it was going to take me to clean a window. And then when you watch videos and people saying, oh, it takes me 2 minutes or a minute and a half to clean a window, I used to think, right, I'll charge £1 a window. And I soon realised that ain't good. So we're now like £1.30p. And I was thinking maybe go 5p in times of with inflation per window. So it'd be £1.35 on the price line, next one £1.40. But then obviously you've got different size windows, haven't you, to think about. And those, I'm having the brain fart, I can't even think of the name of it. Those massive windows, honestly, I can't, I know what it is and I can't, it's gone. Bifold, there you go, bifold doors, and they're all different sizes, aren't they? Nothing's standard anymore. But I suppose you want to try and standardise something to make quoting easier and keep your finger on the pulse, I suppose, so you know how it should be. Matt's saying he started charging more if it's every other month compared with monthly, which is something I don't do. I remember you saying that. So yeah, so an 8 weekly clean will cost more than a 4 weekly. Whereas I just said to people, the price is the same whether you're 4 or 8. I suppose I did that to start with because I didn't want to put people off. But also when I was reading into things, it's saying that you should keep your windows clean for up to 8 weeks. It's just what I tell people because there's no soap and that sort of thing. But it just depends where your house is. So some people find 4 weeks is right because they're near a busy road. Like me, it's rural, got all the fields. And some people are sheltered and 8 weeks is completely fine. But I tell them it's trial and error to change. And I know I have some people, I don't know about you guys, not a lot to be honest, but some people will go to 8 weeks when it gets to like the winter, and then they go 4 weeks when the nicer weather's here. And I don't mind that because it helps me out in winter with the time. But yeah, at the end of the day, isn't it? If the window's a bit more dirty, it's going to take you a bit longer. Just going back to Matt's one as well. And I just to think as well, when you think about it, when you're starting and you're packed, the only way to shift some of your customers to make spaces for newer ones, isn't it? Is if everyone was every 8 weeks, then you've got more room to add more customers because your 4 weeklies are kind of taking up spots, if that makes sense. So you kind of bump the price up so they go for the 8 weekly one and you get more customers in. So that would sort you out. Now they also have it on Squeezy where you can bulk price increase to a percentage. Oh, I didn't know that. And round it up or down, which is really useful. Cheers, Jack. I'll have to have a look on that. Sit down and have a play around. Someone else to have a look around with. Explain all that to my wife as well. That's handy. I like that idea. Matt's saying, when you price up the window, what do you do on large windows? If it's a little bit bigger, I'd just keep it the same price because there'll be some windows in the house that are smaller. So as long as some of them about, it kind of evens it out. But when they're not, and we just notice some of the windows are bigger, we just naturally come up with the £1.30 times the windows, for example, and then maybe add £1 or £2 extra on top, depending on how we think all the windows are. If there's a bar fold door, for example, we'll sort of like double the size of a window, if that makes sense, and think about adding it on. I suppose like bay windows, you could do double the size of a bog standard window, for example, so you count it as 2 windows basically. But it just depends on the window because, like I said, nothing I find is standard. And you get some really tiny windows as well. But then I have thought sometimes you really want to go to it, you might have a really tiny window, but it's second floor and over a long extension. So it's a pain in the arse to get to as well. So it's a lot of effort for something small. That all adds onto your time, doesn't it? If you need a ladder to go off a ladder to get to a particular window, for example. Things like that, I suppose you have to take into account as well, isn't it? It's only stuff you learn and get the feel for as you go along. But you're trying to be consistent because everyone talks in the street, don't they? And then anyone that's underpriced, we try and go red, amber, green. Got it from Darren from Green Pro Limited on his YouTube channel. And sort of red's highlighting the ones you want to do something about, green okay, amber, like all right-ish. But you're probably going to have to address it at some point in the future. So it's always worth doing an audit, isn't it? So I'm Mills Clean saying 20% more if 8 weekly instead of 4 weekly. Okay, so it's the 4 weekly price, but plus 20%. That's handy. I know some people just add a fiver, don't they, to try and make it to the customer more attractive to go for 8 weeks rather than 4. So you've kind of bumped the price up, like I was saying, and then you put more slots in your round as well. 20%. It's interesting, isn't it? Everyone's got loads of different ways, but they work. Doesn't matter, does it? That's better. Sorry. Dawn Window Clean says, many window cleaners fail for a lot of reasons, but pricing too low, top of the list, yes. And then not having the nerve to do something about it, or it's gone too far for too long like that, and it's just it. As long as you're paying the bills, you're doing all right, but you need that bit more, don't you, to future-proof your business, like if your van goes. I mean, I've had a few things wipe me out, like with my van engine twice, and it takes a long time to recover from. And then you get weather and stuff like that. It's that you got a price for as well, isn't it? But you learn the hard way. But I've definitely got to do something about my prices, raise them up a bit. But also it depends on your area, isn't it? I mean, 2 nights ago, I noticed an advert in Facebook on one of the villages that are next to mine. Someone advertising there, window cleaning, starting up, doing certain set prices for bungalows. Doesn't matter how many windows, it's this much. So it's obviously someone starting out, going for it. They're going traditional as well. So whether they've always been a traditional cleaner, moved in the area, or it's someone that's looking out to be in window cleaning and have gone down the traditional route because setting up fee is a lot less than going all out for a water fed pole, especially when you're starting something never done before, which is what I did. But I just got a business loan put together and went straight for the water fed pole. Glad I did that. So who knows, see what happens. But I'm not worried because I know I've got customers that have stuck with me for a while. So I know I'll be all right. If I saw another window clean, I'd say hello anyway. Not like that. Matt Surrey saying, I thought about changing to 6 and 12 weeks to make more space for new customers. When I first started, you'll all laugh, I did 4 weeks, 6 weeks and 8 weeks and just said to the customer, you can chop and change till you find what you want, because I knew some people would be in the middle, and plus I wanted to get as many customers in as I could, because when I left the military, I had 3 months of being paid. So basically in 3 months of getting out, I wanted to be earning a set amount, so I've covered me costs back home. So I was trying to build my round up quick. But I soon learned that the 6 weekers were a pain in the arse because they don't go in with the 4 and the 8s. It's not too bad when you're not busy, but the busier you get, it starts to become a headache. So then we had to say to people, I'm sorry, you've either got to be 4 or 8. Some people obviously naturally went to 8 weeks, but they did turn around and said, can I go to 4? Because 8 weeks is too long. The windows are dirty for a couple of weeks. They can't handle it. And obviously I didn't really want to go 4 weeks, but they've gone 4 weeks. But they stuck with it, stuck with me as well. But that's what I had to do. But yeah, I've often thought if I did get people to go to 8 weeks, would I then have to do what you're talking about, Matt, is going 6 and 12? Problem is, isn't it? I think if you go 12 weeks, by the time you get around to them, it might be 14, 15 weeks because things go wrong between the clean and the next one 12 weeks later sometimes, don't they? And that might be a bit too long for people. But it's all something you got to think about, isn't it? So Rich is just coming in saying, hi, Rob, do you have a minimum charge for window cleaning? Good question. And someone who got in touch with me during the week and I'm going to speak to tomorrow was telling me they have a minimum charge, but it's mainly commercial. But residential, when he did that, they had a minimum charge as well. So that's something I don't do. That's something me and the missus. My missus is right, because who I was speaking to was laughing. He goes, "You've got a lot of apologising to your wife to do." But she suggested we should go for a minimum charge. It kind of makes sense. Just when I started, I just thought a window's a window and I'll clean it. And I've done loads where it's just like 4 windows. Or there's a house I've started doing where I just do top windows only as 1, 2, 3, 5 windows. But I said yes because I'm cleaning the next door neighbours either side. So it's not like I've gone out my way to then clean them windows, if it makes sense. And that's what he was asking me for, because they can clean the bottom ones, but because of their age and that, they don't do the tops. So I just thought, well, I'm there. It doesn't take too long. It's just a little bit extra. But yes, maybe if you did have a minimum charge, it's going to get rid of them sort of jobs. And because at the end of the day, you've got to be making money, haven't you? And if things are stopping you being efficient, the more fuller you get, the more efficient you need to be. So I suppose doing a minimum charge is going to keep you that way, if that makes sense. But I don't do a minimum charge, but I'm definitely looking at doing it. I've just got to figure out what it is. And I suppose it depends on your area. But I think you've got to profile certain houses, haven't you, to make the most money? Because at the end of the day, it's a business and you're making a living. There was a guy who was a builder I used to clean. And he just said to me, because he knows people who are window clean, he said, "Mate," he said, "to be a window cleaner and to make a living, that's respect." And it just made me feel really good that, I just head down, crack on, next window, and so on. But you're trying to make a living. It's not trying to supplement another job, are you? You're doing it as a living. So I suppose you've got to be a bit brutal sometimes. Matt's saying at the end of the day, you know your round and your customers and you know what you can get away with. Yeah, kind of keep your finger on the pulse, isn't it? And you know your customers. You know what ones will struggle. And some of your customers really rely on you to clean their windows as well. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you've got to future-proof yourself for the next however years, or the next problem that's going to come up. There's always tyres, there's always MOTs, there's always services, there's always kit that goes, needs replacing, stuff gets worn. And then you get your big ones that come in as well, and you might need to buy a whole new van a lot quicker than what you thought. And if you ain't got the money there to do it, it's going to sink you, isn't it? And it's a job we all love. I'd hate to not do window cleaning. Dawn Window Cleaner saying adverts like that, they will burn out quickly. Oh yeah, sorry mate, the ones where they're doing like introductory offers really low. Yeah, because they're just going to fall in the same trap we've all been in, to do with your pricing and stuff. And I think if you're too low, because customers aren't daft, they kind of look at you a bit funny as well, because they think you're too good to be true. And then if you're that low, why are you low? You're not confident, or you don't know what you're doing. How clean is their window actually going to be? And then because you're thorough and do a brilliant job for really low, they're chuffed. But they must know you can't go on like that. You ain't going to survive. I think they're the ones that normally, after a few cleans, say, "Look, I'll give you a bit extra. You're doing a good job." You do get people like that as well, and that makes you think, I need to adjust my prices. Especially when the comments I paid that in 1980. Yeah, I agree with you there, mate. Okay, you do some 4 weeks, but mostly you're 6 weeks. I had thought, because between 4 and 8 weeks is 6 weeks. I said to my wife, we're going to have to get rid of the 6 weekers. Or I said go the other way and just tell everyone it's 6 weeks. There's no choice between 4 and 8. It's in the middle every 6 weeks. I had thought that. And you're saying anything more than 6 weeks is not. Like I said, some people said they tried 8 weeks and it's just too long for them. It's doing their head in. There you go. Anything more than 6 weeks class as a first clean. And you're also saying £15 minimum charge, exception, except obviously using your discretion. Yep, that's fair, isn't it? And like I say, everyone's area, everyone's price of living is different, isn't it? But I think it'd probably be good practice to have a minimum charge. Like I said, I do that guy 5 windows, clean him because I'm cleaning all the neighbours. But then there's an argument, how long will that, because people move and sadly pass away and that. But I'm in the area. I'm close by, but it'd be horrible where it bites you in the arse, I suppose. But like I said, this guy can't clean him. Just asked me nicely as well. He wasn't funny about it. And I got a job out of it. So there's that, isn't it? It's amazing what some things lead into others, isn't it? So it's a bit of give and take, I suppose. But I think you do have to be on the ball to a point. Otherwise, you're going to be the one paying for it. Mills Clean saying minimum charge is £14 4 weekly and £17 8 weekly. And then you've got £24 for first cleans. And that's minimum because obviously the bigger the house, that's going to go above that, isn't it? But that's an interesting way of doing it as well. I say you want it standardised. It's easier to remember in your head when you're doing your quotes, isn't it? But yeah, that's a good one. It's like me with first cleans. I've never charged, I have done, but we never charged for a first clean when we first started because I said to my wife, I don't want to scare someone away when they just don't understand that. So I'd rather take the hit of the first clean, do a good job, and then going forward, they're over the moon what you've done and they're in the bag rather than being sceptical of you. But then at the same time, I didn't want to get burnt by people saying, oh, I'm going to be a regular. You do the first clean and then you don't hear from them again and that's it. You've been done over. I said, if that happened, I'd put them up. Luckily, it's only happened once or twice. And that was in the very early days. But what I think some people do is they see that people charge more for a first clean. So naturally get their first clean automatically going for the first clean price. Yet if they look properly at the windows when they're quoting them, they're absolutely clean to start with. So it's just the first clean is a maintenance clean. So I think you just look at it first. It's very easy in it to feel under pressure, run round and count. And like you say, you get your quote wrong. Or perhaps not take into account the detail that the window's already clean because they had a window cleaner and he stopped coming last month because he's retired. You know what I mean? So if the window needs it because it's healthy, that's when we have charged a bit more for a first clean. And they've been happy when we've pointed it out because it's not been cleaned for a while and it's so dirty. It's going to take longer, but we'll get it up to scratch. So therefore it's going to be a little bit more, but going forward after that, it's X amount. We've been doing that. But it's very rarely because a lot of the people we get, they've already had a window cleaner, so it was clean anyway. But I can see why people just fall on that train of thought of first clean automatically. It's this much, but you think your customer's looking at you like you're daft, but the windows are quite clean. You know what I mean? Jack saying definitely have a minimum charge if it's a new job is quite small. When they ask for a price, he always says £16 each clean, as this is my minimum price. And they seem to understand better. There's probably a lot of things out there have minimum prices, isn't there? And you get call out charges, don't you? Things like that, because people have got to drive out to a job. They've got to cover something somewhere. I'm thinking of having a minimum price for gutter clears and fascia softeners and gutters as well. So I think minimum charge for everything really. And like you say, as long as you stand there and explain it all, then they're fine with it. And I suppose it also comes out confidence in you that you're going to do a job, you know what you're doing and you're fair. Yeah, and like you say, I appreciate you got lots of expenses. Someone once said to me when he's fine, but when I went round to do the first quote and I quoted the house, I think it was 20 quid I went for. Because I was thinking about it the other day. And he sort of said, how long will you be here for? Because he said the last window clean used to be here for about 15 minutes. And because I was only started, I said, I'll be here at least 45 minutes. And he looked at me a bit funny. But I think that kind of convinced him to go for it. But then he also talked me down from 20 quid. He said, well, I'm not being funny. You're earning more now than me. And I'm more qualified than you. And I was a bit took back by that comment. but went for it, and he's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. He's all right. He's good. But like I say, some people are a bit skeptical, but it's also because of the previous window cleaner, isn't it? And that's why I did the job, but it's been bumped up to where it should be now. And when he asked me to do solar panels, he's just thrown the money across. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, just do it. But I should have said then, isn't it? You know, I've got a van. I've had to pay for that. It's full of all the kit in the back. I've had to pay for that, and I had to get a business loan. And then, like in the car, I've got to be insured. I've got to have public insurance. I've had to put fuel in it to get here. So it's that. I'm not getting paid X amount an hour. It's got to cover all these costs. And, you know, like you say, people will be aware of it and understand then. Luckily, because you clean people from all walks of life, isn't it? It's normally they're the good ones. They're the ones tending to put your price up, or you're doing a good job, I pay a bit more because you've got to pay for all that. Because they've all done it themselves or been tradesmen. So when they see you working hard as well, they know you're a good one. You know what I mean? Fortunately, the ones who take advantage as well. If I hear one more time, oh, the guy used to do the whole lot for 10 quid. You know, the guy, he only charges £10. Who is this guy? I just say, okay, go get him then. You're right there, Marcus. I have actually said that someone once, when they thought we were a bit pricey, and we said, I'd stick with your window cleaner. Just politely. We do get the odd comment now that that's a bit more than I paid the last person. But I'm pleased to say that hasn't put them off. They've come on board. And then, like I said, once you've done the first or second clean, they're absolutely fine with you, and payment is no problem. And they're quite protective over you as a window cleaner as well. So it's good when it works round that way as well. And then all you can think is you're obviously doing a lot more than the other guy did. I can't remember, something come in my head about another guy. He said I was so different. Matt's saying, don't you love it when they say my window cleaner hasn't been bad for ages? I'm thinking it's either underpriced or they're a nightmare customer. Yeah, it's one or the other, isn't it? Because automatically you're thinking underpriced, but then sometimes you think, no, maybe it's an experienced guy and he's just had enough. And we all meet ones like that. Richard's saying, I picked up a job the other day. The lady said, I've had 2 window cleaners, never come back. I don't know why. I Googled the house and it said it was mid-terrace and a long walk around the back of the house. Yeah. So going back to your cleaner windows, Matt, he's got somewhere, he said they're terraced houses, and it gets kind of ambushed and held hostage in the house as well. And obviously getting to the back's a nightmare. So yeah. But you kind of feel bad, don't you? Because you're letting someone down in a way that generally wants a window cleaner. But at the same time, it's got to fit in with you, hasn't it? I'm guessing the other guys underquoted and got fed up dragging the hose. Bang on, I reckon. And probably someone wasn't happy and keep having a go at them as well. Marcus says it's for you, Matt. Saying something happened to him last week. It means they've binned it because they're a wrong un, or he underpriced it, replaced, and then binned it. Yeah. You do think, didn't you? But you give people a chance, but it goes on your radar. Jack's saying lots of people don't understand if you charge, say, £20, you'll actually end up getting about 50% of that in your wage packet. That's more if you're on your own, never mind if you start employing, because then you get lower, which is true. And you think about food industry, isn't it? They do a 50% markup. So if you sell a bag of chips for £3, it's because it's cost them £1.50. So they do a 50% markup on food. Then you got the VAT and all that, isn't it? I think that's what they do. Probably wrong, if any chefs in here. Matt's saying, I think it depends on the customers. And he's also saying, 2 facial cleans the other day, both for £85. One said that's expensive. The other one said that's reasonable. Are you sure? So they kind of think it's cheap. It's a funny old game, isn't it? When I first started out, I was doing some jobs where I'd clean, and you try and do the best you can, to get a really good job, and things are going against you and you've underpriced it. And then you start realizing you're earning way under minimum wage. I've literally gone around the side of the van to look like I'm getting something and nearly started crying, to go back around and carry on. Instead of walking around, I said, no, I'll see the job through. I'm not going to be like that. And it's a lesson learned. But it can be demoralizing big time. But there's only one way to learn in there. Nice position to have too much work. Suddenly you're confident. Yeah. And it's like the guy that was speaking to me to help me out was like saying, and it's true, the more valuable your time becomes, the more confident you are in your pricing, aren't you? And charging what you should be. There's a guy who I clean, and he's a photographer, and he's set up a room where you can do wet film development, because he's saying a lot of people now are liking and missing the wet film because he used to digital, and he rents out the wet room because people like to use it and things like that. And he's saying about quoting, you know, he's done jobs like weddings or whatever for other stuff. And when people say, how much, why are you that expensive? And they say, probably because I spent 15 years not quoting what I should have been doing. Things like that. So it doesn't matter what trade you are. We all get things wrong, don't we, when we start? Matt saying, I'm on the road. I get ambushed tomorrow morning after a week off as well. See what happens. I'm sure you've got something rehearsed in your head. You probably clean the windows for 2 or 3 times, and then I think you'll come up with a reason why not to do them. Thing is, it's horrible, innit, because you know them. But then you won't be getting ambushed. Hi, mate. PB Pro Clean. He's just put his minimum up to £20. Takes a bit to get used to turning work down, yes. But I think in the long run, you'll earn respect from the genuine customers. And they may ask you to quote other work. It's just having big balls, isn't it, to do that? And I think when it takes a while, doesn't it, to build up a good round. We probably forget what it was like at the start. You get in the habit of saying yes to everything. And it's only later on you start wishing you'd said no. And then obviously you get to the point where you're confident to say, unfortunately, I'm too full. We're being a bit picky because obviously our days are getting packed. I need to get a bigger van or another van. But the problem is my daughter, like I said, is at some point going to move to Scotland. So, you know, how big do you want to scale it? I just want to keep it us, basically. Mark's saying, I can let you see my price list if you want to see if that makes up your mind on what you should charge. I would need your email address or WhatsApp. Cheers, Mark. Thank you. Yeah, I've got to sort out our pricing structure, but me and my wife think our windows are probably all right. We are worried if we keep putting them up too much. I get in line with inflation. We're going to lose people. But then again, if you're already busy, it doesn't matter, does it? And then, like I say, the ones you do gain, you can replace other ones for whatever reason. At the end of the day, you want to make your life easy, don't you? But you want to be fair, obviously, and have a good name. But yeah, I think you need to get a pricing structure and then stick to it. But go off gut feeling. No worries, mate. So I've been drinking tea. I'm near the end of it. But I'll be joining you because I've had a gin prepared. Yeah, Matt's saying as well, you can check his prices on his website, even the gutter clears and fascia clean prices. If anyone hasn't seen, go to Your Cleaner Windows, look on Matt's website, and he's got a really well laid out structured price list. So basically, he doesn't need to do a quote. People just need to look on there. And then obviously when you're doing a house, I'm sure you just fine tune it a bit because some people don't actually know how many windows they got, do they? But it's very clearly laid out. It's brilliant. Matt, because the guy that got in touch with me after the live was commenting about your price list saying it's bang on. So that should make you smile. Mark is saying my A retired ex-colleague once told me, you're going to have to start saying no to people. Now I do. But it's only taken me 38 years. It is hard, isn't it? I know it's going off topic, but when I was a paper boy, I used to go out and do my morning round. And when I come back, the guy at the paper shop would be big smile on his face and I'd be dreading it. He's like, someone hasn't turned up. Do you fancy doing it? In my head, I want to say no. And I'd just say yes. However, it landed me a Saturday job and a job coming in the paper shop in the mornings to be trained up behind the till. Because he was saying, if a paper boy doesn't turn up, I can send you out. And if everyone has come in, I'm just training up behind the till. So he's obviously getting me ready for the Saturday job, really. So that's where not saying no landed me. And I got paid more. But yeah, I couldn't say no and I ended up doing all going out. But when I got the extra money, you soon forgot about all that. Sorry, wrong. Okay, PB Pro Clean saying, best advice I heard on pricing was just charge what you're happy with, forget what the other people charge. As long as you're not miles over or under the average, just be happy and crack on. And there's a big element of truth in that as well, I'd say. But it does also show you've got to keep your finger on the pulse, isn't it? And just keep your eye on everything. Because otherwise it gets silly where you'll charge more because the windows got dirtier more because of a storm. And then that haven't been, so you charge less. You know, you don't want to be too weird like that. Definitely not. But it's probably a bit amazing how far some people want to take it. But yeah. And at the end of the day, I think your customers just want to know how much you're going to charge to clean the windows. Simple as that, isn't it? And they either say yes or no. It's just having the balls, isn't it? But always do a good job because otherwise they're going to leave you. Simple as that. But that's probably why I over clean and take too long. That's something I've got to address, really, try and speed up. But I suppose having to go with the different water flows, brushes, that sort of thing. But we've got a good name around here, and I'm sure like all you lot have as well. It's like Matt was saying, when you see in the groups and someone's saying your name 8 times or something like that, it's just gives you a big lift, doesn't it? Right, I'm not sure if there's going to be any more comments, but cheers everyone. That's been productive. I just thought I'd talk about the hot weather or anything like that on the live, and thanks for you guys tuning in. It's really good. Lots of comments for me to go over, look back on, and I'll get in touch about price lists and things like that. But like I say, I suppose every area is different, isn't it? And I think a lot of people are generally concerned that when you see someone working hard, they don't want to see them go under, if you get what I mean, because you're someone who's good. A good window cleaner helps window cleaners look positive, if you get what I mean, rather than the other way around. Right, well, that's it from me, unless anyone's got anything else to say. I hope you're all going to have a good week out there cleaning the windows out on the glass. Hope it's not too hot for a whole week. And I've been getting through a lot of ice pops because they're cheap, aren't they? Than your flipping Magnums. I'll get them from Heron or Farm Foods. Asda. I've had some Toxic Waste, really good sour sweets they are, and I've seen them do ice pops. They were nice. But I love my ice pops. So my wife will tell you I'll probably have about 4 or 5 of them when I get home lunchtime. They keep me going. All right, I'll call it a close there, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. Have a good week, and thanks for all your tips on here. And I'll definitely get in touch. Thanks very much.